Hi, it's Dorothy Guining with Scrapbooking Quebec. Today I'm here for Mercy Tiara Kits, and I'm going to be creating a quick and easy 12 by 12 layout using the exploding photo mat technique. This layout features the March 2024 release called Dream Big. It combines products from a few new American crafts collections, including Poppy and Pear, Rainbow Avenue, and Cool Girl. And this is my first time digging into it, so I selected my favorite papers from Pebbles, the Cool Girl collection, and Rainbow Avenue, and I have all of the embellishments. I will put a link to the Mercy Tiara Kits website below. That's where you can find Dream Big, and I'll also put a link to my unboxing video. So let's get started. So here's what's on my desk. You can see in advance I prepared a frame style foundation page and I double matted one photo. If you look at the photo closely, you can see me peeking out from behind these people in costume. This is downtown Quebec City last summer during La Fête de la Nouvelle France, which is a summer festival that happens every year in my city. So here's my frame style foundation page. It's made with 3 different papers and I gutted 2 of them. There is a tutorial on my channel where I explain how to do that, so that's going to be listed and linked below. Now with the paper that I gutted, I matted this photo. So the gray cardstock comes from behind the foundation page, as does this chunk of purple paper with pink stars. I think that's from the Cool Girl collection. And here are the other papers I plan to use. Now, at the beginning, my plan was to use a sketch for this layout. You can see it on the table here, and it was actually created exclusively for Mercy Tiara Kits by creative scrappers. It is our monthly challenge on the Facebook group. It's also in the newsletter that comes with a Dream Big kit. And in this tray, I do have a bunch of embellishing. So what I'm showing you right now is there was a paper from Poppy and Pear, I believe, with all of these cut apart sheets. Well, I love both sides, but I loved the cut apart sheet even more. So I cut it up and I do plan to use it on layouts for layering and embellishing this month. I also pre-selected ephemera from 2 different ephemera packs, and both of these ephemera packs were from Poppy and Pear. And I have a bunch more embellishing, and they are from the Cool Girl collection, Rainbow Avenue and Poppy and Pear. And if I didn't know better, I would think all of these products went together, that they were made to go together, because I'm a collection scrapbooker and I'm having no problem whatsoever mixing up all of these products. So I'm really happy that they're in one kit. What I'm going to do right now is start cutting up some squares. So once again, I showed you that sketch. That was my jumping off point. And I'm cutting up this purple paper that, again, I gutted from behind the foundation page. I am using square dies from my stash. I'm actually using 1. And I end up cutting out a bunch of squares in 3 different pattern papers. Now I will put measurements on the screen for the size of square I'm using, but trust me, it does not make any difference whatsoever the size of the square, especially since I changed my plan from the sketch to an exploding photo mat. Anyway, there you have it, squares in 3 different pattern papers. I'm adding ink to all of the squares, and the ink I'm using is Morning Mist by Versifying Claire, and it is my go-to ink when I'm inking up layers of pattern papers. When I'm mixing up pattern papers, I do like to add a little bit of ink to the edges. I just find it makes everything look more cohesive. So what I'm going to do right now is create a border with these squares. So I line them up, and the second row, I don't want them to be perfectly lined up, and that's the plan at this point. But when I end up placing my photo on the page, it just isn't looking right to me. And I do believe the reason why is the pattern papers are quite bold, and I absolutely love them. But my photo is kind of busy too, and it's just not looking right for me. So Instead of moving forward with it, I just stopped my camera and kind of got my head around what I would do. And I did that because I've cut up all these papers into squares. I love this paper and I did not want to scrap my layout. So I decided I would use the exploding photo mat technique. And basically what I'm doing here, I don't really know if that's a technique or not. That's what I call it. Anyway, what I'm doing is I'm basically layering up all of these squares. I am forming them into kind of an organic triangle, and you're going to see the base of it is going to be over on the far left, and the point will be at the far right. And all I'm thinking at this point is I'm overlapping these squares. I'm trying to make sure that no two identical patterns are lined up, and I am trying to form them into a triangle. That's all that's going through my mind. So you can see why I mentioned the size of the squares really isn't important here. Also, these could be different size squares. I just happened to cut out a bunch of identical size squares. So I'm kind of happy with this. And what I will end up doing, I'm just playing around to make sure I like everything here. But what I do end up doing here is getting out my embellishing, even though I'm not ready to embellish at this stage. And the reason why I do it is the exploding photo mat technique is the perfect opportunity to tuck in cut apart sheets and ephemera pieces. Again, you could do this technique with just cut apart sheets if you wanted. So I found myself one cut apart sheet, that striped paper there, and I also found myself an ephemera piece. It's like a little notebook. And I end up going with a tag as well that I stick out on the right-hand side of the page. I could go on and on here, but at this point, I'm happy with what I'm seeing, and I do want to adhere what I have on my page to the foundation page, and then I will continue adding to it. You saw me snap a photo there, and I'm also marking the corners of some of the squares with pencil. I'm hoping that that will be a guide where to place these squares. It works at first. I'm starting to use those pencil drawn corners that I put on my page as a guide. But at one point, I kind of just lose the battle here. So instead of referring to my phone and the pencil drawn corners, I end up just going it on my own, just like I did before, making sure that two identical patterns aren't bumped up against each other, and also forming a triangle with the wide base on the far left and having it point towards the right. So I am continuing adhering. I like things straight. That's why you see me coming in with my ruler, but if straight isn't important to you, you could just adhere these on your page in a little bit of a messier fashion, no problem at all. And again, I'm coming in with just a few ephemera pieces and cut apart sheets, but depending on how you like things, well, you could add a bunch more here as well. I prefer this to the sketch that I had originally planned to use for this layout, for the paper that I've selected and the photo, because I really appreciate having all of that white space around the pattern papers and the photo. So this way I can use these bold, bright prints that I absolutely love, and I can use the photo that I've selected, but still have a rest for my eye. And again, I am simply respecting the way I like to scrapbook, which is kind of clean and graphic with a lot of white space. So you can see I have all of my embellishing around me, and I just am giving you the opportunity to take a screenshot here in case you want to copy what I have done here. But what I'm going to do right now is kind of go through the embellishing and show you what I have on my table and what I plan to do. So I have my title on wax paper, which is Summer 23, and those alphas, I absolutely love them. They are from the Pebbles Cool Girl collection. They are super, super beautiful. I'm also showing you that I have a tray with some selected ephemera pieces here. I have a little banner as well, which came from this paper clip collection. We had half a pack of it in the Dream Big kit. And I have some other bits and bobs on that tray as well. This is a phrase foam sticker sheet from the Rainbow Avenue collection. And in my hand, I have a bunch of smaller embellishments as well. Again, it's from all three collections that I mentioned earlier, all mixed up, but all of the colors look so nice together. So right now I'm playing around with the placement of my title. I did like it on the white cardstock, but I also like it on top of that busy mat because I'm really digging the white that's around all of those patterns. So I'm thinking at this point, I'm going to have my title just kind of hug my photo. But in doing this, my ephemera piece that looked like a notebook got covered up. So I lifted it up and I tucked it just above that striped piece there. And at least I can see it now. And this is the name of the game when you create this type of layout where there's a lot of overlapping and layering. Some things do get covered up. But in that case, I didn't want it to be completely covered up, so I just moved it. The tag that you see me playing with there on the right, that's where I plan to put my journaling. So at this point, I have my layered photo mat. I know the placement of my title, my photo, and my journaling spot. For me, that's the most important part. Once I have that decided, then I can start playing with my embellishment. So you can see me tucking a large flower in the top left and in the bottom right. That's going to be the base of two clusters. Now I'm coming in with smaller pieces. So I'm tucking in some leaves and some flowers. I end up keeping the one in the bottom right a little bit smaller than the cluster in the top left. The cluster in the top left almost bleeds right into the title as well. So that one I'm considering my main embellishment cluster. And the one down by the tag, the journaling box, is going to be a little bit smaller. So I am just tucking in, additioning different pieces here. And at one point, I'm just going to start adhering, and then I will come in with finishing touches. So I'm marking the positioning of the photo. And the reason why I'm doing that is because of the title. If you look at the word summer, if you look closely, I want to place it within a block that pops out from behind the photo. It's a block that has flowers on it. So it's important for me to place the photo down enough so that the word summer fits within that block that peeks out from behind the photo. That's why I marked in pencil the placement of the photo. Now you can see me coming in. I am going to adhere these flowers down. I already did actually, sorry about that. And now I'm adhering the photo on top of them, kind of respecting that corner that I drew in pencil, knowing that I would have enough place for my title. I'm starting to get tongue-tied here. I'm sorry about that, folks. Anyway, the ephemera pieces are down, the photo's down. I started with the title, continued that off camera. Now I'm coming in with that banner. I'm popping that up on foam adhesive. Everything else is pretty flat to the page, but there are a lot of layers, so there still is a lot of texture going on. But I do come in and kind of fold up some of those leaves just to add a little bit more dimension to the page. I do want to add a bit of journaling to that tag. I'm going into the smaller bits. I'm liking how my layout's looking here, but you could add a lot more to this layout if that fits your style. I decide I'm going to go with a bow and the tag, which is from the Rainbow Avenue collection. They are like little felt bows. I peeled off the foam adhesive to make it a little less dimensional so it's not too thick. I don't like my albums being too thick because I have a lot of them. I've been scrapbooking for 20 years now. Anyway, this is basically it. Here is my finished layout, and off camera, I added my journaling to the tag and a word ephemera piece just beneath the photo. I also added a mint heart from the foam and cardstock phrase stickers, and that formed a visual triangle with the mint ephemera that's beneath the photo. And also the word now, which you can see that in the banner, which is just above the photo. So that's it for my exploding photo mat technique. I kept mine quite minimal, basically to reflect my style, which is clean and graphic. but also because of the bold colors and prints in that paper, they do add a decorative impact as well. If you prefer a busier look, the exploding photo mat technique is great. Just keep tucking things within the layers and have fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, Scrapbooking Quebec, I would be honored and thrilled if you did. And if you are a subscriber, thank you very much. Make sure to check out the Mercy Tiara Kits shop for the Dream Big collection and much, much more. The links are below. Take care, and I will see you soon on YouTube. Bye-bye.